even informed that it should be registered. I came to know about it from DPP Johannesburg, and I know that part of the things, that's why I said things got worse, because part of the assertions when I heard from DPP Johannesburg, it was making allegations that there is a statement of Mr. Thorpe, which I apparently took and I did not place in the docket, which was completely untrue and incorrect, because the statement was in the docket and it has been in the docket, and it was not even the first statement, it was the fourth one. So that part was not accurate. So that's why I'm saying from January, my lord, 2019, things, just turned, but there's no specific date where any management or even from me where we said from today we are not going to work together. We just went up all the way, man.
Abukho ke la kwathiwa khona ke kunosuku oluthize noma ilanga elithize ke la khona ke manje kwenziwa isimemezelo ukuthi sesihlukana sesasebenza ndawonye. Ngishilo ukuthi aqokwa ke ngoNovember ka2018 kodwa ke ngoJanuary ka2019 uma ke sekuvela leli idokodo u375 engangingazi ke ngalo mina ngatshelwa ke eJoburg eDPP kuma office abashushisike ke ukuthi kunaleli dokodo ke futhi la esekuvela khona ke insolo zokuthi ke kunestatement yeke sikaHlophe mina ke engasikipha noma engasifakanga khona lapho kodwa ngaso sonke isikhathi nje lelo dokodo leso statement leso sasikhona silapho. So kwakungoJanuary nje emuva ukuthi siqokwe ngoNovember la manje esasesihlukene noma singasebenza indawonye.
Okay. So Brigadier, amongst the four of you as the investigating officers, who was in possession of the police docket of this case 636 that you are dealing with?
It was me, my lord. I was the custodian of it, insofar as the original docket, but the copies were made. I allowed the members right at the beginning to make copies of the entire docket so that each of us can analyze, come back. The intention, my lord, was that when we come back with an understanding as to what transpired on the crime scene, out of that, then, my lord, then an investigation plan then would have been drafted and would have obviously followed, guided by evidence, not anything else. So the original, me as the lead investigating officer, I retained the original docket, and the members were then made copies out of the original, my lord.
Idokodo leli ke u636 lali kumina ke kodwa ngabavumela ke ozakwethu laba ke engangiphenya ka ndawonye nabo ke ukuthi ke amakhophi bangaba nabo ukuze ukuthi ke sicubunguleke umuntu nomuntu ke ayibhekeleke ubufakazi ke obabu lapho bese siyabuya ke siyahlangana ke kodwa original yalo idokodo lali kumina.
But at some stage, my lord, I think in January in particular 2019, because I know when this allegation of 375 of a statement came up, the original docket at that stage was sitting at the DPP's office in Johannesburg because they wanted it for for instructions, because DPP Joburg was involved. So at that stage, the original docket was sitting at the DPP.
Kodwa ke ngoJanuary ka2019 ke i-original ke docket leli ke yayi kuma office ke abashushisi iDPP eJohannesburg.
Sorry, I didn't get you clear, Brigadier. What was the docket doing in DPP's Johannesburg?
My lord, DPP Johannesburg was seized with this matter from its inception. In other words, from 2014, after the incident happened, it was escalated. This before my time, but you can see that in the chain of communication. So DPP Johannesburg was dealing with this matter. When I was appointed to lead this team, we were appointed while the prosecutor's side was Johannesburg DPP. They were already on board. It was at a later stage where the NDPP gave a directive that it must now be moved from Johannesburg DPP to Pretoria DPP. That is why in around January 2019, the docket, the original, was sitting at DPP with the prosecutors. I think it was Advocate Dutoit was one of the prosecutors who was involved.
Engikushoyo ke ukuthi ke kusukela nje eqaleni ke kwalo iqala leli ke ngo2014 abashushisike kwakuyi-DPP eyaseJohannesburg yilo kwengisho kwakukamuva ke uma ngabe sekuthatha isinqumo ke manje ukuthi idokodo leli ke noma ke alibe ngaphansi kweDPP iPretoria. Ingakho ngithi ke ngoJanuary ka2019 idokodo leli ke original yakhona yayise-DPP eJohannesburg. Ngicabanga ukuthi kwaku-Advocate uDutoit.
Yes, and Advocate Market. What's the other name that I didn't hear the name that Advocate Mshololo mentioned?
Zakwe?
Zakwe?
Yes.
No, I don't remember. There was a third advocate, but I don't think it was Zakwe, my lord.
Wayekhona ke wesithathu umshushisa ngicabanga ukuthi kwakuZakwe uMarket omunye ke abamshila.
But obviously the DPP also, Advocate Chauke was also working with you. No.
The DPP got involved, my lord, insofar as when there were these differences and the appointment of Brigadier Perumal. Not that he was actively involved, he's the DPP. He was coordinating, especially when there were these differences, to say he also supports the view, but from the management side, that perhaps there must be a coordinator who can read and advise the National Commission as to these two dockets, because that's my recollection when he was on board, but not that he was actively involved giving instructions. Advocate Dutoit was the most senior person, followed by Advocate Market, and there was this other third advocate, I just forgot his name, my lord.
Okwenzeka ke iDPP okwenzeka ukuthi ingale nkathi ke kubonakala ke ukuthi khona ke ukuhlukana ke kovo ke lana ukuthi ke abalekelele ke basho ke nokuthi futhi ke ukuthi kube khona ke umuntu ozo coordinator ke ozokhombisa ukuthi akwenzekeni uma kutholakala ukuthi ke elinye ithimba eliphenyayo lisho kanje elinye lisho kanjena manje ngoba ngisho ke ukuthi Advocate Dutoit kwakuyena ke osenior bese kulandela uMarket wayekhona ke nomunye futhi.
So in other words, there was a conflict regarding this case at that particular time?
There was no conflict, my lord. The docket from 2014 has been very clear. If you read the evidence that is there, that they were intruders. You simply have to look at the evidence, follow the evidence, analyze it. So I do not know as to what informed the other members that there were no intruders, because if you read the docket as I've explained it, my lord, when you analyze it, that's what you will find today. And what I've said today is what was contained in 2014 when this matter took place, my lord.
Kusukela ke ngo-2014 ke qala nje noma ke mufuthi isiganeko senzekile idokodo ke iyodwa ke into eyishiwo ke lapho ekuseyiyona ke eshiwo ke namanje ukuthi ngempela babe khona abantu abangena ke endlini, angazi ukuthi yini eyabangela ke ukuthi abanyuzwa ke lapha bona ke bakholelwe ukuthi ke cha kwakungenabantu abangena lapho.
Okay, thank you, Brigadier. At that point in time, February or March, when you say at the opening of the second docket, and when there was a separation, I don't know whether I should say it's a separation or it's going different ways with the other two investigating officer. At that time, when you separated, was there any evidence against the accused that are before court at that point in time?
No, there was no. So let's start perhaps with the date, my lord, in which 375 was opened. It was opened in January 2019.
Okay.
I just don't know the date, but it was January 2019.
2019.
Yes. Secondly, at that time, when this 375 docket was opened, there was no evidence in the docket insofar as these accused are concerned or anyone. We were still investigating, my lord.
Okokuqala ke angiqale lana ukuthi ke idokodo lelo 375 lona ke lavulwa ke ngoJanuary ka 2019. Ngaleso sikhathi leso ke sokuvulwa ke lelo dokodo 375 kwakungekho ubufakazi ke obukhomba kubasolwa ke laba phambi kwankantolo noma ke bukhomba sathi saphenya ke ngaleso sikhathi.
Okay, in respect of this docket now, 636, was there any evidence against the accused before this court at that time?
Yeah, so perhaps maybe my answer was not clear, my lord. When I said there was no evidence, I was relating to 636 because docket 375, I never had access to it. When I said I heard about it, I heard it from the grapevine. The first time I saw it, my lord, as I indicated, seeing the file, it was in 2019 at the office of the DPP in Pretoria, not necessarily reading it, but seeing the file when we met, myself, Brigadier Perumal, Lieutenant Colonel Guteles and Makobo at Advocate Baloi's office. That's where I saw the file, the docket itself. But where I had an opportunity to go through it, it was after it was disclosed in this court at the request of the defense. So I did not have access to that docket. The evidence I'm referring to in relation to this accused is insofar as docket 636 of 10/2014.
Uma ngithi ke kwakungenabufakazi babukhona ke ngakhona la abasolwa ke laba phambi kwankantolo ngikhuluma ngaleli ke idokodo u636 angikhulumi ngaye ke u375 ngoba nje kwakuyinzwa bathi ngaleso sikhathi ukuthi ke kunedokodo u375 hayi ukuthi mina ngalibheka ke ngase ngiyalifunda ke uma ngilifunda ke lo dokodo lolo kwakungenkathi ke licelwa ke abameli khona ke la kuleli icala.
So at that time, there was no evidence against the accused before this court?
Yes, insofar as this docket, my lord, this one that is before court, no, there was nothing.
Yebo ngaleso sikhathi leso ke ngikhuluma ngaleli ke idokodo leli eliphambi kwankantolo ke u636 kwakungekho ubufakazi ke ngabona abasola ngaleso sikhathi.
You guys, maybe it's because I'm particular with English. When you say there was no evidence, do you hear yourself? The rights annotation should be at that stage, no evidence was discovered against any person. There was always evidence on the 26th of October 2014 after Senzo was killed. There was evidence. When it was discovered, that's what's critical. That's how I understand the language.
That's the court's position.
Understood, my lord.
You think I'm wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong, my lord.
It's like Jesus Christ.
It's the matter of
They say
interpretation.
he went up on the third day. And you hear this after 20 years.
But I think the
Doesn't
witness,
change the initial.
but I think the witness was able to understand the question, my lord.
Yeah, but he's understanding it wrongly because you are saying there was no evidence. It's not true. That's from the 26th of October 2014, after Senzo was killed or murdered. There was evidence. Whether it was discovered or not, that's another story.
My lord, I think let's leave it there for
Yes,
argument.
yes, yes,
Let's
yes.
leave it there for argument, my lord. Someone will understand it better. Let's proceed, Brigadier. Now, you have separated. And had the statement of Constable Zungu been obtained at that particular time? If I understand from the evidence, it had not yet.
No, it has not been obtained, my lord.
Ngaleso sikhathi leso ke sisakhuluma ngaso ke ubufakazi bakhe ke noma istatement sakhe uConstable Zungu sathi ngekatholakala.
If we go into the record, because Constable Zungu testified that he approached General Lishabane. You were not there, that's why I'm narrating, Brigadier,
Yes,
you
my
understand? Yes, you were not there. And then when he approached General Lishabane, the evidence is contained in this record. General Lishabane then called Warrant Officer Makubu, okay, to come and meet with Constable Zungu. Sorry, Mero, can I just double check the line? If we can go, just go on page 57. of the transcript record dated 8/9/2023, page 57, line number 16.
Yes, my lord, I'm here. I am on page 57.
Page 57. Line number 16 starts with General Shabane. After 30 minutes, you see that sentence?
Yes, I see it.
General Shabane shared the information with him, and Makubo refuted the information and told us that I am lying and that there is no such information and evidence that link Nkane, that is Fiso Kuhle Ntuli. He disputed everything I shared with them and said that I must reveal my source.
I'm listening, my lord.
Warrant Officer Makubu showed us a picture of Nkani and said he arrested Nkani on other matters in KwaZulu-Natal and that Nkani is not involved in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa as well as other suspects I have mentioned. He further accused me of coming to them with baseless information. He kept on insisting that I reveal my source and bring him.
Fundeka kalendlela la advocate afunda khona ke uGeneral Shabane wase etshela ke yena uMakhubo wase emtshela ke uMakhubo yena ke waphikisa ke ukuthi ke lokho mina engibatshela kona ke nokuthi ke lokho sorry ngiyangibatshela amanga nokuthi ke leyo information leyo nobufakazi ke obukhuluma ngaye uNkanye ngokuthi ke usifiso kuhle Nkanye. My apologies, my lord. uGeneral Shabane wase emtshela ke uMakhubo yena ke waphikisa lokho wasitshela ke ukuthi ngiqamba amanga akukho information enjalo kanye nobufakazi obufaka yena ke uNkanye ukuthi ke usifiso kuhle Ntuli waphikisa yonke into engangibatshela yona ethi ke angisho ukuthi lokho engikhulumayo ngikuthathaphi. uWarrant Officer Makhubo wase esitshengisa ke isithombe sakhe uNkanye wathi ke wambopha uNkanye embophela amanye amacala KwaZulu-Natal nokuthi ke uNkanye akasiyona ke ingxenye noma wayengekho ke uma kubulawa uSenzo Meyiwa kanye nabanye abasolwa labo engibashoyo noma engibashilo.
Brigadier, I understand you were not here. You were not part of this conversation, and also you were not in court when Constable Zungu testified. But my question to you, from what I read here, is that during the conversation between General Shabane and Warrant Officer Makubu, at this time when they met, Makubu demanded from Constable Zungu to give him a source, and Constable Zungu did not give him the source of the information he related to them.
I suppose, my lord, the record speaks for itself, so I'm not so sure how. What can I say, my lord? This advocate Mshololo is saying I was not here, so and I was not part of that meeting, so I don't know what to say about it.
Ngiyazi ukuthi wawungekho ke lana kulomhlangano wawungekho ke nasenkantolo uma ke uConstable Zungu ethula ubufakazi ke kodwa ke kulokhu ke engikufundayo ke la ukuthi ke uWarrant Officer Makhubo wafuna ke kuyena uConstable Zungu ukuthi abatshele ukuthi lokhu abatshela kona ke noma asho ukuthi lokho abatshela kona ukuthatha kuphi. Yebo ke irecord iyayikhulumela ke ukuthi angazi ukuthi ngasiza kanjani.
Sorry, Colonel, if I was not clear. Actually, what I wanted to put to your attention is that when Zungu was asked to reveal the source of his information before he met with you, he could not give the source to the police officers that he was talking with.
My lord, but if you look at this record, no, from what we've read, it doesn't indicate that it happened on the date before he met me. So I'm not sure how do we come to that conclusion that this meeting took place before he met me. What is apparently clear if you read this passage is that I was already the investigation team because I was already appointed because my name has been mentioned that uGininda, is one of the investigators, but a decision is taken to call Makubo. So that means the team was already appointed. And I indicated in my evidence in chief that Constable Zungu came to the office of the National Commissioner earlier in the beginning of 2019, my lord, when I was called by the National Commissioner. And then that conversation between us in finding his father went on until we met in November. So I don't have a date here as to when did this meeting happen. What is clear is that I was already appointed as the lead investigating officer from the passage that has been read to me.
Kuloko kufundwe lana ke angazi ke ukuthi ke uma wenzeka lo mhlangano kwakunini ke ngoba ke angiyiboni ke idate la kodwa ke okuqaqeba ukuthi ke ngalesikhathi lesi ke salo mhlangano kwakuseyimina ke kangisenqokiwe ke ukuthi ngihole ke ithimba eliphenyayo lana ngoba ke igama lami kuyakhulunywa ngalo lana ke kodwa nje ukuthi ke kwakunini ke futhi ke uma siqala ke kwakungu 2019 uma ngihlangana naye ke uZungu ngikhuluma naye ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi ke baba wakhe ngamletha nini ke kodwa lana idate ayikho.
Okay, thank you for that, Colonel. I'll clarify that as we go through the record, the period or the dates in which they met. But at some stage, General Shabane, Warrant Officer Makubu met with Constable Zungu, and Constable Zungu was asked to reveal the source, and he could not.
My lord, that's why I'm saying the difficulty, I was not there. But in principle, and I'm talking about now the police practice, you never ask a police officer to reveal a source. A source is someone, I'm not so sure even myself, even if I'm asked by the National Commissioner, that you can reveal a source. A source, and I'm quoting it from where I'm being asked now. How do you reveal a source, my lord? How do you ask another police officer to reveal a source? Because the source, you protect that person unless the person then wants to be revealed. But you don't reveal a source in natural practice of our investigations, my lord.
Emaphoyiseni ke futhi ke ngohlobo ngendlela ke esiphenya ngayo ke ukwenza kanjani ukuthi iphoyisa ubuze linye iphoyisa ukuthi lokho kushoyo ukuthatha kuphi ke noma ke nambe engabuzwa ke uyena ke uNational Commissioner ukuthi angisho ukuthi isource yami noma umuntu ongitshele lokho ukuthi ubanike uyenza kanjani ngoba kufanele ukuthi loyo muntu loyo umvikele ngaphandle kokuthi ke loyo muntu loyo ke akanankinga yena ukuthi umdalule.
Thank you, Brigadier. Let's go down further on the same page, paragraph 14. It says, in the same year, I received a call from the lady who identified herself as Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, who said he was a forensic investigator in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. The officer asked to meet me in relation to the information I gave to Warrant Officer Makubu, and we agreed to meet at McDonald's Kempton Park. When we met, I realized that she was in the company of Warrant Officer Makubu. She asked me to repeat the information that I have shared with Warrant Officer Makubu, and I did. She further asked me about my relationship to the suspect, which I have explained. She also asked if I'm related, and know Kelly Kumalo, and I told her I do not know her, nor I'm related to her, except for seeing her on social media. Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi accused me and General Shabane of trying to protect Ms. Kelly and shift the blame to the suspects I was mentioning. She told me that she has evidence that implicates Kelly in the murder and that shooter was one of those who were in the house. I disagreed with her based on the information I had and want discussions that we have no fruitful outcome. In other words, what I'm trying to bring to your attention, Brigadier, here is that the two investigating officers met with General Shabane and continued with involvement in this case to such an extent that they even interviewed or consulted with Constable Zungu, wherein they disputed the information that Constable Zungu gave to them.
My lord, so I'll start here with greatest respect to Docket Mshololo. The portions that we read does not indicate that both members met General Shabane. You can only see insofar as Warrant Officer Makubo meeting with General Shabane. Warrant Officer Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi and Warrant Officer Makubo met Mr. Zungu alone. At least that's how I'm reading it, my lord. So
Yes,
that is
correct.
yes. So that is the first aspect, my lord.
Uma singaqala lana ke kuloko kufundiwe ke lana akukho la khona ke okushoyo ke ukuthi lamaphoyisa amabini ku Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi noWarrant Officer Makubo bahlangana naye ke uLishabane. Yebo uMakubo yena ke wayekanye noLishabane kodwa lana uLieutenant Colonel Buthelezi noMakubo bahlangana bodwa ke naye uConstable Zungu.
Yeah, but the essence of my question is that the two investigating officers that we had been working with before, they also met with Constable Zungu and dismissed the evidence that was shared by Constable Zungu with them.
My lord, that's not how investigation is done. You don't dismiss evidence that is brought to you. You investigate, and the outcome of the investigation will give you the legal results. The correctly objective results will come out of the investigation. You cannot say when someone says this is a situation and based on your views you simply say this is not true. Based on what? There must be an investigation, and then the outcome of the investigation will drive you to the right conclusion, my lord.
Akusiyona ke indlela yokwenza uphenyo ke leyo ukuthi uma umuntu eza kuwe ke ekutshela ke lokho akutshela kona wena ke usuyachitha ke lokho ukuphikise ke lokho akushoyo ke ukwenza kanjani ke lokho noma ukwenza phezukani ke lokho ngoba uma umuntu ekutshela ke lokho akutshela kona ke uyahamba uyophenya ke bese kuba uphenyo ke oluza kudalulela ke kuloko okutsheliwe ke wena ukuthi wena kuvele nje uchithe lokho okutshelwayo.
Okay, so in other words, these two police officers were wrong for rejecting the information of Constable Zungu.
No, my lord, I don't want to be direct to casting aspersions. I'm simply saying the administration correct process. If allegations are made on a matter that you are investigating, someone comes forward to you as an investigating officer and says, I'm giving you this information, these are the possible suspects who are involved. You can't, without evidence, simply say we are dismissing those things. You have to investigate. Then based on the outcome of the investigation, you can then say this information is incorrect. But you cannot simply dismiss the information on the mere presentation of it to you.
Engikushoyo mina ke ukuthi nje cha awukwazi ukuthi uma ngabe umuntu kwena ke ezake uma ke umphenyi noma umseshi akutsheleke lokho akutshela kona ubese wena ke awukwamukelike uthi cha lokho kushoyo wena ke ayisikona kufanele uhambe ke uyophenya ukuphenyo ke yila usuzathola khona ke manje mayelana nalokho okutsheliwe.
Is it also correct that you were also called by General Shabane regarding the presence of Constable Zungu?
No. I was not called. I called him, my lord, when I was looking for Constable Zungu.
Akusiyena ku General Shabane owashayela mina ucingo mina owashayela yena ucingo kathi ke ngangifuna yena ke uConstable Zungu.
And did I get it correctly to say when you also firstly met with Constable Zungu, you also asked for the source?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No. He told me, my lord, there was no name, there was no mentioning of a source. He told me the information is coming from his father. And then I asked that he must then arrange his father to avail himself. And so there was no, the source never existed between my interaction with Constable Zungu.
Uma ngikhuluma naye ke Constable Zungu akukho la khona ke mina ke ngabuza ke ukuthi ke ubani utshela uyena owazi kumina ukuthi lo lwazi analo ke walithola kubaba wakhe ngase ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi ke angamletha nini ubaba wakhe.
How did you trust the information given by a police officer who had been sitting with the information from 2014 up to 2019 and not disclosing it to any of the police?
My lord, it's not a question of trust, it's a question of investigations. When information is given to you, you investigate. The outcome of the investigation will lead you to the truth, to the objective truth. You simply investigate, you will get to the proper outcome, my lord.
Walithemba kanjani ke manje noma ke iphoyisa ke yahlezi ke nento ke eliyazi noma nolwazi ke kusukela ngaye u2014 bayoshaya ke u2019 engatsheli umuntu. Lokho ke akuhlangeneke nokuthemba kodwa ke udaba nje lokuthi ke lokuphenya ukuthi ke lokho okutshelayo uyaphenya ke uphenyo yilona ke oluzokudalulela iqiniso.
My lord, can I ask that we adjourn for the day at this stage? I see that I misplaced my questions, my lord, and the records which I intended to use for this area of cross-examination. Can I ask, my lord, that we adjourn and I'll proceed on Monday?
Yes, Mr. Maloyi, what's the view?
As a court, please, my lord, we don't have objection to the request. But
The other counsels?
As the Constitution, I do not have any objections.
Certainly not.
just
Can I mention something?
Yes.
I did mention it. Monday and Tuesday, swamped with interviews for judges, secretaries, I'm on the panel. I did mention it to the defense and the others, and they were having issues with me bringing another interpreter at this stage of the trial. So I'm just mentioning it. But Monday and Tuesday, we are having interviews for judges, secretaries.
So you won't be able to participate? Work here?
Not for Monday and Tuesday, my lord.
Yeah, there's a new one. Jonas says, as you have heard him, he's the chief interpreter for the region. He's got to be in attendance when the decision is made to interview other interpreters
No, judges, secretaries.
and judges secretaries. Consequently, he won't be available on Monday and Tuesday. Am I correct?
We have interviews for 2 days.
For 2 days. Which means we come back on what, Wednesday.
Yes, my lord, you can come back on Wednesday, my lord.
my lord, the term ends today. We made special arrangements to sit next week. Can you maybe adjourn to Monday, see what arrangements can be made for Monday?
It's not me saying that. He's the one. He says that the sessions are on Monday and also Tuesday.
Yes.
So to say we must come here on Monday, it doesn't mean you won't be interviewing and making selections on Tuesday.
We'll see. We'll talk to Mr. Jonas to see if we can arrange for Mr. Ngobo, who usually.
As I'm saying, I mentioned this to the defense. I was told that at this stage of the trial, it's a crucial one. They wouldn't appreciate another. I was told. I'm saying this on the record, madam.
Well, let's adjourn until Monday, and Mr. Ngobo can then be arranged. We can take it from there. But before we adjourn, my lord, we just want to hand up this exhibit ZZ7, the affidavit of Ms. Yolanda Mwe. It's got 2 annexures, my lord. The affidavit itself is exhibit ZZ7 in brackets A. There's the her affidavit. Then there's a document setting out the personal details of the hirer. That will be exhibit ZZ7B. Then the last annexure, it's copies of the driver's license and bank cards. That will be exhibit ZZ7C.
So, Mr. Jonas, they said you have to finish this case. You, as the interpreter.
That is correct.
Hello?
Yes, madam.
Who was telling you this?
I was having, okay, let me be specific. I was having a conversation with Advocate Mshololo, and then she said at this stage, it's a crucial stage, and then they wouldn't appreciate another interpreter because an interpreter would come without information of the case, and the flow will be disturbed, my lord. That's it.
My lord, if I can respond, my lord. I confirm, my lord, that I did discuss with Mr. Jonas, my lord, after receiving complaints from the accused, my lord, about the previous interpreter which I've related to Mr. Jonas and the problems of the interpretation that they couldn't understand. Let me speak on behalf of my client, my lord.
So what do we do on Monday?
My Lord, we suggest that we adjourn to Monday and see what arrangements can be made, but we must proceed on Monday. We have to finish Brigadier Gininda before we adjourn next week.
Okay, let's meet on Monday then.